Most people who are looking to escape the matrix understand that it is nearly impossible to do without finance. You need to have money. If you don't have money, then you're going to be stuck as a wagey or a brokey, and you're going to be beholden to the systems, which you could side skirt if you had enough money. That's true. There's actually a lot more to escaping the matrix, because you also need to build up your physical capabilities, and most importantly, you need to free your mind to the point where you can say the truth even to your own detriment, even if it ends up putting you in jail. But the majority of you are too lazy or too arrogant. What you're hoping is going to happen to you is the lazy person's dream of how you become monumentally wealthy. You have this idea that if you come into something first, if you come in before everybody else, you can rape it with very little effort and you can become rich. And then by the time everybody else catches on to it, you'll already have heard about something else and you'll move on. And with very little effort, you will once again rape this gold mine that you found, this ecosystem. You'll destroy it, rip it apart, take all the money and vanish without ever doing any work. That is not true. The reason that is never going to happen is because every single time any ecosystem, any gold mine, any salt mine, any fucking diamond mine, whatever, any pile of money is identified, groups of people are going to flock to it. And of course, there's a massive advantage of being early, but there are two types of people who are going to flock to this pool of wealth. There are the lazy losers who think, I'm in early, I can make easy money. And there are the professionals like me. I am a professional, and if I find a pool of money, and if my team find a pool of money, if HU or the War Room or any people who are associated to me find a pool of money, we do not operate under the guise of laziness. We don't turn up and go, this is easy money, I can make a little bit of money, I don't have to try very hard. We think if we were to try as hard as possible, we can take everything. We can put him out of business, and we can put him out of business, and we take all the money from him, and by the time everyone else heard of it, I've taken it all. A lot of people have this dream, and the dream is how a lazy loser, which most of you are, 99% of you are lazy losers, imagines getting rich and imagines how they're going to become rich overall. So I want to make something clear to you. Anybody who's not rich in the world today is one of three things. You're either lazy, arrogant, or stupid. Most of you are not stupid. I would say less than 5% of people are too stupid to become rich. The majority of people are either too lazy to work the way they need to work, or too arrogant to believe they should work. And this is not just for people watching at home who have no money. This is also for people watching at home that have a little bit of money. If you do not have millions and millions of dollars, considering the period we've just went through where the matrix was completely cracked and broken, and the money printers were on full, and free money was being given out everywhere, and Bitcoin went up to the moon from nowhere, and all this money was just appearing on the fucking street. You could scoop it up off the side of the road. If you do not have millions of dollars at this point, you are either lazy, arrogant, or stupid. Let's imagine it this way. There's a gold mine. We've discovered some gold in a river down over there, yonder way, past Wyoming. If you get over there, there's a gold rush. Go quickly. And you turn up and you have a little shovel and you dig for an hour a day and you get a little bit of gold and you're richer than you've ever been. And you have all those free hours you can just spend sitting around jerking off and being a fucking dork. I turn up with my team. I don't want to work an hour a day. I want to work 18-hour days. And I want to build cranes. And I want to have all of my staff on site. And I want to take the whole river and I want to build a dam and block it all off so not a single fucking piece of gold gets past me. And then I'm going to sieve every single piece of dirt and we're going to bring in heavy machinery and we're going to take all of it. And you are going to be sitting there with your shovel in one hand, broke, because you had a chance but you were fucking lazy. And if I see a chance, the difference between you and me is that I don't believe in being lazy with anything ever. If you found out how to make $10,000 an hour, you would sit there and say, I only have to work an hour a week. Whereas I would say at $10,000 an hour, I should only sleep 2 hours a night. I should make $220,000 a day. And that is what I would do. And that's why I perpetually win. So the lazy loser's dream is that you can get in early on some garbage and not try very hard. And then you can make a whole ton of money. And then you can jump to the next thing once everybody else catches on. That's never going to happen. What can happen is you can get in early and work extremely hard and become extremely wealthy. And the fantastic thing about this is you only have to pull this off once. One time is all it takes. If you could just dedicate yourself to something for once in your fucking life and focus for once in your life for one period, you could be rich forever. All you have to do is not be a lazy loser. So a lot of people message me going, hey, I want to get in early before the other people are in, blah, blah, blah. Listen, there's no point getting in early if you're lazy, because I'll come along after you and destroy you. It's not just about getting in early. It's also about doing the work.
And I think people are starting to understand and learn that if you're going to go through life without standing for anything or any standards or without a soul, that you're going to end up being punished by God. You have to be on one side of this fight. And a lot of people don't understand that the people who are in charge of the world are genuinely evil. And if you're not going to take a stand against them and you're just going to sell your soul for material possessions and think, well, I'll just get really muscly, make a little money and just, skirt the line of entertainment and be a clown for the Matrix and I'll be fine, you'll learn that God is unhappy with you and you will be continuously and endlessly wrecked until the end of human time. And no matter how well you try and plan or think ahead or do good. And that's why it's so important to do the right thing all of the time. And I believe that humans are designed to do good. And I believe that the masculine spirit is designed to do good. And I believe if a man makes a lot of money and works very hard and builds himself to be physically strong and mentally strong, he's going to naturally gravitate towards good. I don't think that those kind of people end up evil. I think vindictive, sad, weak little people grasp at power and use snakery to influence the world and do evil things. I think men who stand up with principle are good people. Please understand this. Most of you are only a few years away from being completely replaced by free computer programs like ChatGPT. Most of you are so uninteresting and so unremarkable and lack skills at a level where a free chatbot can replace the majority of you. In fact, I would argue if most of you use ChatGPT to talk to girls, you'd probably do better than if you tried yourself. That's how pathetic most of you are. You're all going to be replaced, which is going to make you a useless eater. Once you're a useless eater, the elites will not need you anymore, because if you're a useless eater without a job, what you're going to eventually do is riot and cause problems. They have no interest in trying to police you. They'd rather get rid of you. And that's what they're going to do. They're going to reduce the world's population from 9 billion down to about 2 billion plus machines. And they're going to look at all the people with money and importance and stature and status and who are brown and tall and sexy with big muscles, and they're going to let us live. And the people like you are going to be exterminated one way or another. You're going to be starved to death and you're going to be permanently eradicated from the genome. That's what's going to happen to you. And I'm trying to explain this to you and you're sitting there going, oh, it's funny. No, this is not a joke. They intend on wiping out your entire bloodline because you're an unremarkable loser and you're running out of time. Now, when I say this, people say, oh, well, Andrew's crazy. Andrew, he says all these crazy things. He says the Matrix is after him, and then the Matrix comes and gets me. And they go, well, maybe he was right about that. But he says other things. I'm right about everything. Please understand that we're about to move into a post-truth world where nothing makes sense, nothing is true, nothing is real. It's all a big fallacy. It's all a big lie, and the useless eaters are going to be eliminated. So, gentlemen, you need to be sharpening the tools which are going to be most applicable and most versatile, irregardless of the situation you find yourself in. There's a whole bunch of skills you can learn. Some are very specialized, but there are some skills which basically always pay off. And these should be your primary focus because you're always going to need them. There's never a time when you won't need these skills, or it's very difficult to think of a scenario in which these skills will not be useful to you. That's why you should focus on them and hone them. It's difficult to think of a scenario where being brave would be a negative mindset for you to be able to tap into, because bravery affords new options you haven't previously considered. If you're a coward, you don't have certain options on the chessboard because you simply don't have the bravery to make X moves. But if you are brave, you can analyze these moves. So you have a whole bunch of moves that most people don't have. That takes bravery. Most people do not have the bravery to consider alternate paths. And as the world gets more and more centralized, because that's what globalization effectively is, it's centralization. All of the companies of the world are becoming centralized. All of the power, all of the money, everything is becoming centralized. There's going to be a smaller and smaller group of people that have everything, and most people are going to be left with nothing. You need to be able to look at the chess moves that most people will not be prepared to make, and most people live very afraid. So bravery is an extremely important skill to hone. It's something you should practice. You should often sit and think, what would be the bravest decision I could make in this scenario? What would be the bravest one I could possibly make? And consider it. I'm not saying do it, but you should get in the mental model of considering it. Because quite often when you're a coward, brave decisions don't even cross your mind, ever. They don't even cross your psyche. They're not even something that's interesting to you. You haven't trained your mind to consider them. So you need to train your mind to consider bravery, because bravery is something that is going to universally apply throughout your life. And it's also very important as a man that you're realistic enough to understand that the masculine world has always been based around peacocking, flexing, showing capability, showing competence. That's what the masculine world is truthfully based around. People often say women are attracted to men who are X, Y, Z. No, women are attracted to competent men. Men who exude competence, not arrogance, but capability. And you're only going to exude that if you've proven yourself capable many times, because then God will give you a different level of different aura. When a woman looks at you and goes, he can do anything he says he's going to do, that's when you become instantly attracted. Competence is extremely important. That's the masculine world. Don't let losers and brokies sit and say to you, oh, all our graves are the same, it doesn't matter. No, it does matter. You were not born to suffer and die without being remembered or leaving a mark on this planet. You weren't born for that. You were born to do something great and to be remembered. You were born to leave offspring, which are so fantastic, raised in your image, that you, by proxy, are discussed into eternity. Your bloodline becomes synonymous with competence and capability. That's why you were born. The reason the male peacock shows its feathers is to say, look what I have. There is nothing wrong with that. That's what built the modern world. All of the explorers who risked their lives on the 7 seas did it to say, look what I did. The most beautiful buildings around you, the cathedrals, all these things that were built by men saying, look what we have done. We have done something other people cannot do. Flexing in and of itself is not a stupid idea. It's actually a biological norm amongst men. Don't be confused. You don't want to flex asininities. You want to flex capabilities. You want to flex competence. You want to flex, look what I can do, which others cannot do. I made the brave choice that others are afraid to make. And respect often lies on the other side of fear. If there's a decision that everybody's afraid to do, but you do it, that is what's going to get you respected by your peers. To be great at anything in life, should you enjoy it? For example, if a boxer wants to become world champion, would he have to enjoy boxing? Or would it even be possible to maybe hate boxing and still become world champion? It is easier if you enjoy it, because you do not struggle with lack of motivation or lack of interest. For me to say you could honestly be world champion at something you hate is a lie. You can, however, be competent at things you don't like. You can be very good at something you don't like doing. To be the best in the world, you probably have to fall in love with it. But the way you do anything is the way you do everything. And you can fall in love with the idea of being good in general. So anything I do, I don't want to be bad at. I either don't do it or I try my very best all the time to become extremely good at it. I don't see the point in doing anything and being mediocre or being bad at it. What's the point? If I'm going to speak on podcasts, I want to be good at it. Anything I'm going to do, I want to be good at. Now, you should have enough respect for yourself that you're prepared to always put in the effort to give your best 100% because it is a habit. You should always give your best to anything you do. When you pick up a video game, you should give your best. When you drive a car, you should attempt to drive as efficiently as possible, using the brake as little as possible to not waste fuel, to make sure there's no close calls, no sudden braking. Most of you are just getting in your car and driving like a jackass from point A to point B, not trying to actually go, you know what, let me drive and pretend I have the queen in the back seat and I can't even brake suddenly. And I only have a fraction of fuel. How far can I go if I very smoothly, very calmly anticipate the traffic in advance, move my car in and out of the cars so I barely have to brake, keep moving slowly and smoothly? The way you do anything is the way you do everything. And it is a habit to be good at things. There's nothing wrong with just being good at things. To be the best in the world, you have to love it. That's true. But you're not going to love the majority of things you do. That's not realistic. The world's not going to afford you a life where everything you do you're in love with. In fact, you're going to end up doing a whole bunch of things you don't want to do. And the life hack is, if you enjoy getting better at things, then you can be doing something you don't want to do better than you previously done it. And now you enjoy doing it because you were more competent and more capable at said task. You are now better at said task. Every single thing I approach with vigor because I like being good at things. And that's not because I'm arrogant. That's because I have enough respect for myself. And more importantly, I have enough respect for the people I love to know that I need to be good at things. When my children or when my women or my family or my people who rely on me, my brothers, anybody comes to me expecting me to do something for them, I need to have enough respect for them to know that I'm good at what they ask me to do. And if I don't know what they want me to do, or I'm not particularly good at it, I'm at least good at learning. You can become good at learning so that you learn things faster, good at concentrating, good at taking a scenario seriously. These are all basic life skills that go along with bravery. That's going to put you in a competitive bracket amongst the masculine realm which exists today, because most people can't even focus. Most people can't even focus or try hard at anything. Most people go through their entire adult life without trying 100% hardly ever. Think about it. Even when you go to the gym, you don't try 100%. You don't try 100% at home. You don't try 100% when you fuck your bitch. What do you try 100% with? Do you really try 100% with work? Are you really moving that mouse as quickly as you possibly can? No, you're not trying. So you have people who have gone through life and are going through life without even giving 100% of what they've got ever. And it's interesting because we're entering the most competitive period of human history. Guys, I want you all to understand something. The plan by the elites is pretty simple. Their intention is pretty simple. Their intention is to enslave all of us, and they're going to do that by replacing us with machine and leaving us begging for handouts from a centralized government. And for you to outcompete a machine is going to be nearly impossible without some degree of ingenuity, without some degree of spark. You need something extremely interesting and unique about you. That's extremely important. And for you to be able to do that, you can't just be good at one thing. You need to be good at lots of different things. Often it's a concoction of capabilities across multiverse realms that are going to allow you to have this special formula that a machine can't quite mimic for now. So you need to get very good at everything you do all of the time. Once you start to win, you get to find unlimited energy from the universe from somewhere, and you just continue to push forward no matter how hard it is. Winning is easy. It's trying to turn it around when you're losing that is difficult. Once I start to make money, I know I will have endless motivation to keep making money. It's just hard to make money in the first place. It's hard to get over that hurdle, but once I get going, it's easy. It's a positive reinforcement loop. It's a spiral upwards into infinity. It's a tornado that takes you to the promised land. It's trying that matters. So you see this kind of cope. I didn't feel like going to the gym, but I went and just had a light session. Why? You went anyway, so why did you have a light session? If you're gonna go, do it. If you're gonna do it right. There's no point in half doing anything. You may as well have not done it at all. So this idea you can coast through things, this idea you can lazily try or pretend to try or just showing up counts, I dispute all of that absolutely. You give 100% of your heart, soul, and vigor to anything you do, and it becomes a habit so that it's all you know how to do. Before you know it, you're driving a car trying to do it as well as possible. And you're having a conversation trying to be as clear and compendious and concise as possible. And you're trying to make money as much as possible, as efficiently as possible. And you're trying to educate your children as well as possible. You're trying to protect your family as much as possible. You're trying to get as strong as possible. Because all you know is maximum limits. That's all you've ever done. You've never done any of this, that garbage can go out the window. So you need to get good at getting good at things, and you need to get good at trying 100% at all things, whether you like them or not, and this will give you a base level of competency in all realms, even if you're not in love with said task. I don't think most of you realize that you do not have time. Everything is time. Time can be converted into anything. We all know time can be converted into money. People say often, time is money. This is true. Money is also time. You spend money to save time. Time is the enemy of the rich man, so he takes a private jet to save time. Money is the enemy of a poor man, so he waits for the bus to save money. But they're the same thing, money and time. Most of you sacrifice your time for money. If I go to work for X amount of hours, I get X amount of money. And that money you can use to hire somebody else to do something for you and give you their time. That's all cash is. If I need 1,000 man hours, I can do them myself and spend my time, or I can spend my money and hire 1,000 man hours. And this is what's interesting about the fact we're talking about centralizations of power. These larger and larger companies are going to become harder and harder to compete with because the amount of man hours and energy which is done under their name, under their umbrella, in guise of ensuring the global conquest of their brand, each day is accelerating. These companies have hundreds of thousands of employees all doing 12-hour days. That's millions and millions and millions of man hours dedicated towards a single brand, and you're one person by yourself putting in a few hours a day trying to compete. It's going to become harder and harder. They're going to get further and further ahead of you. If you're sitting here watching this and you're not currently making money with the machine mind, then you're failing. I use AI for everything. But if you refuse to learn, then you deserve the eternal slavery which is coming for you and your bloodline. That's what's going to happen. There's no way to escape it. So when I say you don't have time, this is something you need to remember because it's extremely important and you can apply it to most things. You do not have time to have a headache. Do you understand? I'm not saying you don't have a headache. I'm not saying your head doesn't hurt, but you don't have time for it to affect your life. You do not have the waking hours. You are being outcompeted and crushed by people who have no interest in your sovereign capabilities as a human to make free choice, by people who intend to enslave you, by people who are more powerful and more connected than you'll possibly ever be, by people who know things you do not know. You do not have time to have a headache. It's simply not acceptable. How do you perform when you have headaches is a stupid question. The fact you've even framed it in that way shows that you don't understand the world. Time is your lifeblood. It's all you've got. You can turn time into reputation. You could turn time into global fame. You could turn time into respect. You could turn time into a fantastic body. You could do anything with your time. You can turn your time into anything you want. So how are you going to waste it sitting around saying, I have a headache? Boo, boo, I have a headache. Are you gay? Maybe you're gay. But the question is framed incorrect. If I have a headache, I don't care. And one of the main reasons I don't care is because my enemy doesn't care. You know, when I got injured when I was training for fights, my coach would often say to me, is your enemy going to hit you less or show you mercy because of this injury? If you say, okay, we're about to fight, but halfway through the training camp, I hurt my foot, so, take it easy. No, he's going to try and destroy me anyway. So if he doesn't care, why do I care? And why does my coach care? Nobody cares. The people who are trying to steal your woman, and trust me, everyone is. The people who are trying to take the money that you want to earn and put it in their pocket before you can. The people who want to have large and gorgeous feathers on their peacock to show the world all the amazing things they've done. They don't care that you have a headache. So why do you care? You need to reprogram your mind. You don't have time to have a headache. There's always been and always will be tiers. There's always going to be a hierarchy. There's going to be different echelons of success. There's always going to be kings, emperors, oligarchs, and there's going to be the peasants below. It is your job to try your very best to escape peasantry. Even if you don't reach the highest possible level, at least escape peasantry. Do you think a woman sees you as competent if you complain about having a headache? Let's say you have a headache. It's fine. You have a headache. I'm not disputing that. Maybe it really hurts. That's terrible. If you go, oh, I've got such a bad headache, do you think a woman looks at you and goes, yes, oh, I found the guy for me? She may not say anything. She may say, oh, do you want a pill? But really, deep down, she's thinking, this guy's a dickhead. I mean, if you got hit in the head with a hammer or shot in the face, fine. But why do you have a headache? From what? Scrolling TikTok. And then you want to message me and ask why you can't win in the real world. A lot of you deserve the failure you endure. The universe is very giving. I often believe, people say the world's not fair. I'd argue that karmic retributions, and in the long run, all in all, is pretty fair. In the end, God gives you exactly what you deserve. So if you're not happy with your life, you have to ask yourself, do you really deserve more?
The reality of masculinity is controlling your emotions. This is the reality of being a man. They try and say that men should give in and it's okay to cry. I'm not saying you can never cry if something bad doesn't happen to you. I'm saying that the tenets of masculinity since the dawn of time have been, I was afraid, but I did it anyway.
Yeah.
This is the tenets of masculinity. Courage.
Yeah.
That's what courage is.
Yep.
I was afraid to storm the beaches of Normandy, but I did it anyway. I was afraid to stay on the Titanic, but I did it anyway. This is the whole tenets of masculinity. And now they're saying, oh, if you're afraid, just act afraid, be a pussy.
I knew people who weren't that talented, but they were just at the gym every day. They just ran further, they just trained harder, and they just ended up being world champions. That's how it gets. You cannot beat consistency. The person who does what they're supposed to do day after day, regardless of how they feel, is going to be the person who wins. The people who are the most successful in the real world are the people who wake up every day and work. If you're the person who wakes up, does work, is fantastic at it, but then takes 3 days off, you're going to lose. They say that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, and it's completely true. You have to be consistent. You have to decide, are you the kind of person who wants to make a lot of money in this life and live a life of freedom? Or are you the kind of person who wants to look back when he's 30 on his 20s or 40 on his 30s and look at that decade and go, what did I do with that decade? Well, I didn't get rich. I didn't travel the world and live like they do in Take Confidential. What did I do? Well, I had a day off here, a day off there, a bunch of nothing days that amalgamate into this decade of nothingness, and you're just wasting your time. If you want to win, you need to be consistent. You don't need to be the smartest, not at all, but you have to be the guy who's there day after day. And I will guarantee you right now, IQ has nothing to do with how successful you'll be as a real world student. What is going to determine how successful you're going to be is, are you there every single day? Are you doing what you're supposed to do day after day? God will give you anything you truly want. If you truly want money and you truly try hard and you truly listen to us, you are going to have as much money as you could possibly ever desire. But if you think you want money, but you kind of want something else, or if you're arrogant, or if you're lazy, you're going to end up somewhere in the middle if you're lucky and talented. And if you're not talented, you're going to end up at the bottom.
The game is getting harder. And if you're sitting out here and you are not trying to level up along with the game, you are going to struggle into eternity. These women have so many choices. Social media has made that worse. COVID even has made that worse. These bitches are sitting at home on their phones all day. They read every DM sent to them.
Facts.
So if you DM a bitch and she doesn't reply, don't worry, she saw it.
Nobody will ever admit to being a coward. Nobody will ever admit to being afraid. What they will do is they will mask it within virtue or morality. And they will try and pretend they're a good person for being a coward, instead of standing up and saying, I was afraid, because people are not that honest. You see these kind of things all the time, right? When somebody has a negative emotion, let's say somebody's extremely jealous and petty, they will try and mask it in a weaponized version of a virtue or morality. Let's take me as a personal example, right? There are people who will tweet all day, Andrew Tate's a human trafficker. Cool, fine. That's what you believe, supposedly. These people are petty, they're jealous, they're unhappy, they're semi-autistic, and they're sad. And they feel negative emotions inside, but they mask it. And we're seeing this now, right? And this allows you to understand the world, and allows you not only to understand the truth of things, but secondly, to never be bothered by anyone. When you see somebody try to attack you with their false morality, when they say, you're racist, you can sit and say, you don't care about racism. You just don't like me because you are sad. And it makes all of your haters instantly powerless because you understand the truth about them.
When I was poor, I had this idea that once I made money, I'd meet all the other important rich people. and all the other important rich people would just be like this group of avengers, and we'd like skirt the rules and nothing would apply to us, and we'd be like international with multiple passports and offshore banking and all this, and you just become like a different character in the video game, like you become Neo outside of the Matrix. And then I started to make a bunch of money, and I realized that that's not the case. A lot of people with money are very, very much stuck in the Matrix. They're very, very scared of the tax man and their accountant, and they have to do what they have to be, you know, at this place at this time, and they can't lose the wife because she'll take half the wealth. And most men who have money are completely and utterly trapped. The real problem with the world is that there's an epidemic of cowardice. It's on the other side of fear that you're going to garner the respect of other individuals. You have to do things that they're afraid to do.